when you played at UNC, what is your best Roy Williams story, having played for the legend?
Man, there's
And I
so
want the
many.
story. Listen, I want the story that you tell your boys too, not the one where it's like we're on a podcast. So,
Man, there's so many, and we got a chance to laugh about a lot of them this past weekend. But I'll give you two. One was a good one for me, and one was a bad one for me. So we were playing. One of the things that a Carolina tradition is, they always try to play home games for. The days are different now because you don't have seniors anymore. Guys are usually they don't make it to their senior year. But if you're kind of a star player and you make it to your senior year, they try to have games in your city so that close enough to where you can go and your family can come. So for Raymond Felton, we were playing a game in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He's from South Carolina, and Raymond was a junior, but everybody knew he wasn't coming back next year. So we were playing in a tournament in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and we're playing against Coastal Carolina. I forget the team we were playing against, and Roy and Rashad McCants were just not seeing eye to eye that game, and he's screaming at Rashad about playing defense. And we had this thing at Carolina: if someone got a steal, someone took a charge, everyone gets off the bench and you cheer. Like if you got caught sitting down, if someone got a steal or someone took a charge, like you were in trouble. And so we had just called a timeout, and Roy's like, Rashad, call the defense. Like, I need to do that. We get back out there. Rashad doesn't do it. And he immediately subs Rashad out. Rashad, and again, when you come off the bench at Carolina, you always sit in the first seat at the top of the bench. Well, Rashad bypassed the first seat and came all the way to the end of the bench to sit next to me. And I was already up cheering. And as I went to sit down, we got a steal. And kind of Roy was coming down the end of the bench where I was at, and everybody's getting up, and I'm on my way to sit down. And when he turned and saw me sitting down and saw Rashad sitting down, he looked and he's like, you go to the locker room. And he kicked us off the bench. We're on ESPN, and you see, of course, the camera's panned to Rashad walking to the locker room and me walking right behind him. And so everyone's like, Rashad McCants is going to the bench. But all my friends and family like, why is Jesse going? And then Roy says at halftime, he kicked Rashad off the bench. And I was like, he comes in the locker room. I'm like, why'd you kick me off the bench? And he's like yelling at me. He was like, because you. I was like, but I wasn't doing that. And then he apologized to me and to the media after the game.
This is during a game. This is during a game.
The game is going on. He kicked me off the bench. I was guilty by association for sitting next to Rashad, or Rashad sitting next to me because I was already there. He had no business being down there by me anyway. And kicked me off the bench. And so we laughed and joked about that one. But one of my favorite things about Coach Williams is, and he always reminds me, he says, Jess. And it feels good to hear it because, let's be honest. We have 5 lottery picks on that team, 4 or 5 lottery picks on that team. Raymond
loaded,
Felton, Marvin Williams, Sean May, Rashad McCants. We had 7 guys playing the NBA off that team. And he always tells me, he says, Jesse, you don't understand just how important you were to us to winning that national championship. Like the way that you push Raymond every single day in practice, the way that you went at him, the way that you defended him, Rashad, all these guys. He goes, we don't get that without you. And that's a good feeling. And he says it like he's not like a once in a life. Every time he sees me, he says it, and he treats me as if I was I was a Bob Cousy Award winner. Like if I was, the player of the year, like he treats me like with that. He's already like I can text coach, and he texts me back. Right when he comes in town to do speaking engagements, we meet and we have dinner, just he and I. And so those type of things are. You can't, you don't get that for a guy that people don't respect. And so it was great, man. I could talk for another hour about all the stories that we had, during that time in my time at UNC.
Yeah, the first time I went to a game, I grew up in the Chicago suburbs, Jesse. So for us, Michael Jordan is just revered. You go to a game in Chapel Hill at the Dean Dome, and they have every team has this, but the intro video to get the home crowd hyped. when you have basketball Jesus introducing you with Michael Jordan at the end, it's hard not to get hyped. And like, you might not see this right now, but the hair is standing up on my arm just thinking about it.
I'll give you a quick Michael Jordan story. When I first met Michael Jordan my freshman year, and you hear Reggie Miller always talk about, he called Michael Jordan Black Jesus, right? And he's like, this dude has this aura around him. And I remember we were getting ready for practice. We were in the weight room getting our pre-practice lift in, and the door opens up inside the weight room, and I don't know what it feels like to meet Jesus. I haven't met Jesus yet, right? Yeah. But it felt like Jesus walked in the door. Like the room, the air changed, everything changed. And Mike walks in, and I mean, he's not 7 foot tall, but he felt that way. Like he felt Goliath size. And so we go, he comes in and said, we all run and get ready for practice. We go out onto the court, and in Michael Jordan fashion, we end up shooting half court shots, right? Like we end up shooting half court shots with Michael Jordan. I won't tell how that part of the practice ended, because if you know Michael Jordan and anything competition and what comes along with that, yes, that happened. But it was with college kids, absolutely. But it was at the end of practice that I got a chance to really I felt like I was sitting in heaven. We in practice, and I'm sitting there at the end of practice, and I'm just watching Michael Jordan shoot 15 to 17 foot jump shots, free throw line extended, right? Back and forth, back and forth. Well, at this time, Phil Ford is at practice.
Legendary UNC guard.
Legendary. At this time, Coach Dean Smith comes out of his office and is on the practice floor.
Everyone is there.
And so Michael is shooting these 15-foot jump shots, and he looks over at Coach Smith, and he said, "Coach, I bet you $100 I can make 10 in a row." And he shoots the one from the left wing. Boom, knocks it down. Couple steps to the right wing. Boom, knocks it down. And Coach Dean Smith yells back at Michael, "I bet you another 100, Michael, that you can't do it left-handed." Michael stops, pauses, looks at Coach, looks at the ball boy, smacks his hand, gets the ball, and like he was born left-handed, he begins to shoot 17-foot jump shots from the free throw line, left-handed. Boom, left side, right side. He knocks 7 in a row down, and then he missed the 10th one. And I just sat there in awe of watching a man shoot left-handed jump shots as if he was left-handed. Not like, you're trying to fix yourself to do it. You're just like, "Oh, okay, give me the ball." And I was like, oh my God, what have I just witnessed? I just witnessed the greatest basketball player to ever live, one of the greatest coaches to ever live, one of the greatest point guards to ever play, and Coach Williams is on the floor at the same time. So that's what it's like to be around UNC and to be in that place at that time.
It's a veteran of the game move by Dean Smith to make him change hands, though.
Yeah. Coach Smith knew. He knew.